Today is July 15th, 2025. It's Talking Giants brought to you by SeatGeek. And yeah, July 15th, rookies are reporting for training camp today, and veterans and vets, they're reporting 7 days from now. So what better way to try and kick off training camp? Weis, my good friend NYG Daily, is joining me. We're doing the first ever Talking Giants official stat line prediction show where you're going to give, like, hey, this is the amount of passing yards, touchdowns, receiving yards, touchdowns Malik Nabers is going to have, Russell Wilson's going to have, the amount of sacks that defensive players are going to have. So we have a lineup of 11 guys, I believe 7 on offense, maybe 6 on offense, 4 or 5 on defense. Weis, your Twitter account is shut down. My parking lot is flooding in my parking lot. We're doing all right. We're hanging in there. But how are you doing, my friend? Thanks for joining me.
Good. My Twitter account isn't shut down. I'm locked out of it.
Oh, you're locked out. Excuse me.
Yes. Because of suspicious activity.
I thought about teasing you and telling you that somebody put out a slur from your account. I'm like, oh,
too
Weis.
soon, man. Too soon.
Oh, too soon. But I didn't do that because that's mean, and I'm not a mean person. So yeah, my parking lot. Did you see that video I put out?
Yeah, I didn't see it. No.
Oh, because your Twitter account's locked.
Exactly.
But my parking lot's like a river right now. I couldn't even pick up my feet to walk. I was shuffling my feet, moving cars.
Yeah, I saw a clip from the New Jersey Turnpike where it's like basically a swimming pool.
It's bad. It's very bad. I've been in this apartment for a couple years now, and there's only been one other time where we've had to move all of our cars into the grass, and that happened tonight. So here we are. We're recording the show. Excited for Giants training camp. I'll see you at the second half of practices, right in the middle, right smack dab in the middle. You're gonna come.
Yeah. So I usually like to take a vacation in July, and so I'm actually driving cross country on Thursday, and I won't be back till I think the 28th. So then I'll probably take a day to kind of recover and then head up to Jersey for training camp on the 30th. And I'll be there until the 4th or the 5th. But yeah, it's just a very exciting time. You're starting to get that itch for football. I kind of caught myself watching all the touchdowns from the 2024 playoffs the other day on YouTube. So shout out to the NFL YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It is really good. It really kind of gets you. They do a very good job of this time of year kind of dropping some, 2024 playoff touchdowns. Let me watch that. Oh, greatest finishes from the 2024 season. Let me watch. They do a good job of scratching that itch of football that we're slowly starting to get again.
If I had it my way, I would just compile stuff all day. If I I can. I have to make more videos than just social videos and stuff like that. But if I had it my way, I would just sit and compile and then keyframe stuff and and edit videos all day if I had it my choice. But we don't have things our way. Weis, what do you want to start off with first? We have a lineup of 11. So we're going to give stat predictions for Russell Wilson, Jaxson Dart, Tyrone Tracy, Cam Skattebo, Malik Nabers, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, and then 4 players on the defensive side of the ball: Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. For the defensive guys, we're just going to do sacks because I don't really, all right, let's predict tackles for loss and tackles and things like that. And Okerike's stat line could be sort of fun to predict, but we already feel like you kind of know what that's going to be. Sacks are just the most fun thing to predict. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start off with the quarterbacks, or do you want to start off with running backs, wide receivers? Where you take us where you want to go?
I think let's start with the quarterbacks, right? I think that's where the people would want us to start.
Yeah. What are you expecting out of Russell Wilson this year?
My expectations out of Russell Wilson. If I say they're low, people are going to think that I don't think highly of Russell Wilson. I actually am a lot more bullish on Russell than, everyone else. I think that there's a chance that the Giants could get 2024 Russell Wilson, which I think was post Seattle. And I know it's not saying much, but that was sort of his best year in Denver. It was that first year under Sean Payton. I think he threw 26 touchdowns.
That second year under Payton. Yeah.
Was it that second year under?
Yeah, the first year was was not very good. That was the 4-11 year.
Yeah.
That was the
2020.
what's his face? The former Jets OC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett. So Hackett was the head coach the 4-11 year, and then it was
Right.
Sean Payton the second year where he throws the 26 touchdown passes, and
26 touchdowns,
they're a
8
lot better.
interceptions. I think
Yeah.
he completed over 65% of his passes, 3,000 yards. I think he had a quarterback rating of like near 100, or I think it was like 99 or 98. But
It was 98.
it was
Yep.
a 98. Okay, there you go. Yeah, it was a good Russell Wilson season, I think. And I think we're close to, I think we'll be closer to getting something like that. Does that mean the Giants are going to win games? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to equate to wins. But I think you're going to get a good sort of veteran quarterback version of Russell Wilson at this stage of his career. And I think that's sort of where I am. I don't think that this is like a renaissance year for Russ where he's gonna, he's gonna turn the clock back to the Seattle days. I don't think that's the case. But I also don't think this is gonna be the case of like week 2 we're calling for Russell Wilson to be benched.
How many games does he start? Because when thinking about stat prediction, especially, it's not like having Daniel Jones here where it's like, yeah, all right, well, we can just bank on this guy being here for 17 games, or if you're baking in games missed because of injuries, that's different. So the fact that there is Jaxson Dart, even Jameis Winston here, I feel like part of what you have to think about with your expectations of Russell Wilson is how many games is he inevitably going to play and start this year.
Well, that's my thing, is that I don't think Russ's play is going to be the reason he's going to be benched. Like, I think Russ will put up decent numbers. Like, when you look at the stat sheet after a game, you're going to be like, oh, that's a pretty good Russ game. Like, oh, okay, he did turn the ball over through a okay, like, I just think when you look at the schedule, Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Chargers, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Denver, Philadelphia again. Those are the first 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to break it up into 4, because like I told you before we started the episode, 4 weeks is an eternity in NFL season.
Hey, your season could be over.
Yeah, so
or it could be alive,
Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, Los Angeles. Best case realistic scenario. 1-3, 2-2. When was the last time they beat Dak Prescott? 2016.
Yeah.
Washington, Jaden Daniels, like Kansas City, like, so like you gave my point. Like, there's a good chance they're 1-3 by October, and then the conversation is like, hey, like you said, where the probability of a 1-3 team making the playoffs is very low. Let's just play the rookie. I think right now when people sit down, they're like, oh, it's this perfect situation where we're gonna sit Jaxson Dart for a long period of time, and we're gonna take it slow. That's not how the NFL works. You know that, Justin. I know that. The feeling about a rookie quarterback and the willing of wanting him to play is a lot different. And then when you factor in Brian Daboll's job security, that is specifically tied to how Jaxson Dart looks and any amount of games that he plays. And the longer he would sit him, I think would impact his job security negatively, considering the schedule. But if there's a world where Russell Wilson plays well and the Giants start the season strong and we're in mid-October, early November, and we're like, okay, like we're in the hunt, right? And then it's like, okay, the plan is going as they thought it would when they laid it out, right, in the offseason. But looking at it right now, schedule, who I think Russell Wilson is, how good I think this offense can be, I think by week 4 you'll start to hear the rumblings of Jaxson Dart playing, and I just think it's unavoidable at this point.
Yeah, and I talked about it I did a solo ep of like the 5 biggest Giants X factors heading into the year, and the last point that I talked about was marrying the whole notion of being prepared to start the season and then handshake with the Jaxson Dart timeline. Because Weis, I mean, week 1 the last 2 years, you've been a fan for longer than I have. You've watched more football than I have. Have the last 2 years of week 1 Giants football, have there ever been 2 week 1s that have just sucked the life out of a team like that in one game, in 1 week? right?
Right.
So I think that it just works hand in hand with they're not prepared to play football. Like they just don't look prepared to. Now I know the Vikings, they were a good team. Nobody expected them to be a good team. I know they won a lot of football games last year, but in the NFL, I think it's inexcusable to get blown out like that on any game. On any game. I don't care how good the team is. So that's the Giants' their biggest training camp goal. Now, this is obviously no shit Sherlock, but from a fan standpoint, like my biggest training camp goal for the Giants is how can they get through the first, like you said, 4 weeks of the season. That'll be around the first month. How can you get through the first 4 weeks of the season and instill in the fan base that the season isn't over? Because then that will work hand in hand with Jaxson Dart will not be put into a bad situation.
You can't even look at like October, November. I'm just going to play a scenario out to you.
Yeah.
Week 1 against Washington, week 2 against Dallas. Both are road games, right? They're not favored in each of those games. They haven't beaten Dak Prescott since Dak Prescott's rookie year in 2016, which was 9 years ago, right? If they lose those first 2 games, not only are they 0-2 on the season, they're 0-2 in the division, right?
Right.
They're coming home for their home opener against the Kansas City Chiefs.
National television.
Like, the fan base at that point will probably already be demoralized in a sense, right?
Yeah.
If they're not demoralized, they're slamming the table for Jaxson Dart.
Correct.
Right? Like, that's where the enthusiasm is going to be at. It's like 0-2, both losses are division games, season on the ropes, Brian Daboll's job security, especially if the offense doesn't look good. Like, forget about, we're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs or we're 1-5. Forget about that. Focus on those first 3 weeks of the season and what will transpire from a week to week standpoint if they don't get off to a hot start, which is tough to say when you're looking at Washington, Dallas, and Kansas City as your first 3 games.
Well, my want and desire is to get out of the first 4 alive. And my desire, and this is what I think best case scenario for the Giants this year, best case realistic scenario is that Russell Wilson plays the first 13 games of the season. They have that week 14 bye, and then you have Jaxson Dart starting the final 4 games of the season. That's this is the Giants stat prediction episode. I'm going with Russell Wilson plays 13 games. I have 2,875 passing yards, which is about a little over 220 passing yards per game, which he's averaged over the last 4 years. Russ has averaged about 221.9, so 222 passing yards per game. He's averaged around the same passing yards per season as the Giants' offense, go figure. But you have to remember that Russell Wilson has missed games in 2024. He missed games in 2023 because he got benched. So it's actually kind of funny. The Giants as a team have averaged 3,090 passing yards during the Brian Daboll era, 2022 to 2024. Russell Wilson has averaged 3,047 passing yards per season, and he hasn't even played all 16, 17 games. No, everything is 17 games besides 2021 over the last 4 years. So I have 2,875 passing yards. I have 22 passing touchdowns, which he's averaged around 20 3/4 over the last 4 years. And I have a 63% completion rate, which basically matches what he did with Pittsburgh last year. I don't think it's going to be as high as it was in Denver, because Denver, it was either throw it deep down the field or check down. I think Daboll's going to kind of let the reins off of him a little bit, where that completion percentage may be a little bit low, and then the catch rates for some of these receivers may be a little low too. So again, 63%, 2,875 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 games. I view that as optimistic, but also it's Russell Wilson kind of hitting his averages on what he's done the last couple years. Do you have like an official stat line in your head?
I'll do a best and worst case scenario. Does that work?
I love that.
Okay.
And then you have to pick one.
Okay. I'll pick which one is more likely to happen.
Yeah.
How about that? Best case scenario, I think Russ goes up until the bye week, which is 13 games, like you said. Um, this final game is that Monday night game at New England. Um, I think he finishes the season right around 2,500 passing yards. I think he finishes with less than 15 touchdown passes because I don't think the
Whoa.
offense, yeah, less than 15,000, excuse me, less than 15 touchdown passes. Um, and he doesn't throw as many picks. Russell Wilson basically is a game manager throughout the year. The offense doesn't improve enough. They lean heavily on their run game. And at the bye week, he gets benched. That is sort of like my best case scenario. But I will say this. I think Russell Wilson plays good ball. Like, I think we look at it and we say the offense is simply just not good enough. We're
Yeah.
too heavily invested in getting Malik Nabers the ball. And then the schedule, man, like Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, Philly twice, at Denver, San Francisco, Detroit. Like these are some really good, like these are defenses we expect to be good. Look at their first 13 games. Just be realistic with yourself for a second. Washington's defense, is it a good defense or is it a bad defense?
It's I would say it's an average defense.
Average defense. That's what I
Yes.
would say too. Dallas, good defense or bad defense?
They have good players. Also, I really like their defense coordinator now. So yeah, I would say it's a good defense. They
Okay.
have a bad
Kansas City.
run defense.
Kansas
Kansas
City
City,
is a
good
great
defense.
defense. Right. The Chargers.
They also have a very good defense coordinator. They were very good against the run last year.
Okay. New Orleans.
No, they're the worst team in football.
Okay. Philadelphia. Good.
Yes.
Denver. Good.
Good, very good.
Philadelphia. We already get Philadelphia again. Good. San Francisco. I think that's still a good defense. Robert Saleh's back.
coming back. I'm excited for both of this year.
Okay. Chicago. I think that's a good defense too.
Yeah. Talent wise.
Okay. Green Bay. I think that's an average defense.
Yeah, they always find a way to be good in like everything. So.
And then Detroit and New England. Variable. We'll see. We'll put it at bad. Detroit.
Stay
I
healthy.
don't know. Yeah.
They have talent.
Tell me how many bad defenses we just named.
I can say maybe two.
Maybe two in the first 13 games. So I pointed like this to me. There's going to be people that watch the game and is going to be like, Russell Wilson didn't play bad, and that's going to be true. But the fact of the matter is, they're just not good enough to compete with these teams, and I think that's going to be the issue throughout the season. So I think he goes. Final prediction, best case scenario, he goes 13 games. I think he throws right around 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns to 6 interceptions.
Okay. Yeah, I think my prediction is pretty optimistic because if you're averaging, if he has 3,000 passing yards in 13 games, that means the Giants passing offense has 230 passing yards per game through the air, which would have been good for 12th in the league last year in front of Aaron Rodgers and behind Matthew Stafford. So
I think they'll move the ball. I think they'll move the ball, but I think they'll struggle in the red zone.
Yeah, and this is where
Stop me if you heard that before, by the way.
This is where Mike Kafka comes in, though, because one of the things that I think we're kind of just snapping our fingers and hoping that Mike Kafka fixes is like the Giants just had one of the worst red zone offenses in the league last year. They actually did move the ball well through the first 6 weeks. Weiss, they moved the ball better than you would think last year. They were 18th in yards per drive. And I think they were 4th in plays per drive and 4th in time of possession per drive. I just talked about it last episode. And they moved the ball. It's just they weren't explosive. So you don't have anything to spark or flip the script or anything. And then you're also horrible in the red zone. So this is one thing that I'm hoping that like Mike Kafka comes in and rekindles the first 2022 magic.
The first 2 weeks of the season, Minnesota and Washington, who ended up being really good teams.
Yeah.
The Giants moved the ball. In the Minnesota game, everyone remembers the pick 6. But the first 2 drives of that game, the Giants went down the field and kicked field goals.
Right.
or the first two of the first three drives went down the field, kick field goals.
And they didn't have a field goal kicker week 2, so
Exactly. And they moved the ball.
yeah.
So I think they will move the ball. They'll just struggle to score touchdowns again.
Yeah. You had an interesting point about them leaning on the run game. We're gonna talk about the running backs next. I want to give a quick I think Jaxson Dart, final 4 games of the season, 675 yards and 7 touchdowns. I have 160 yards per game, which is kind of low. 160 yards per game would be 640 yards. I rounded up to 675 yards. And then 7 touchdowns in 4 games. I think that's a good amount, but I also can see Jaxson Dart having like a couple big play touchdowns, and those are the highlights that we're playing all off season long that get us excited about 2026. So I can actually see some a higher touchdown rate and not necessarily a ton of yards and not like that completion percentage being low. So that's my official Jaxson Dart stat line: 675, 7 touchdowns.
So Jaxson Dart to me, which was my worst case scenario with Russell Wilson, is Russell Wilson plays after the first 4 weeks of the season is benched because the team is just awful.
Yeah.
Primarily because of the schedule. So if let's say Jaxson Dart is the one that plays after the first 4 games, starts the last 12, 13 games of the season. By comparison, last year Drake May, who played 13 games, threw for 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I think that would be sort of like a best case scenario with Jaxson Dart, with which we're all walking out of that. Like, okay,
and
numbers wise, we'll take
horrible offensive line, weapons, everything.
Yeah, I think another good comparison if he plays, the final 4 games of the season. Michael Penix, I think, played the final 5 games of the season.
Yeah, he's played against us.
4 or 5 games of the season. He threw for 775 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Okay.
Completed 50% of his passes.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think it's going to be less than 60 if he can.
So what I tried to do was I tried to look at Jaxson Dart. What could his numbers look like if he plays the majority of the season, 10 or more games per se, and then I looked at what happens if he would play, less than 5 games or less than 6 games. And Michael Penix threw 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 5 games. Looking at the Giants' final 5 games of the season. Again, the schedule, man. Coming out of the bye, if he plays the final 4: Washington, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Dallas.
Vegas is in a dome, though. It's not going to be cold.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Weis. The other three are home games, but again, Washington, playoff team. Minnesota, playoff team. Dallas, we expect to be much better. And that week 18 is always a tricky one. But I'm just saying it's a little gotta, teeter your expectations a little bit. But
I'm banning the word schedule for the rest of the show.
Yeah. Well, that's how I'm basing everything, every prediction on that. Like, if I looked at the Giants schedule and this is a cupcake schedule, I'm telling you Russell Wilson has his team in the hunt by November. Yeah. But unfortunately,
I wish we played the AFC South every year.
Yeah, that would be nice, right? I mean, our home opener against Kansas City. I mean, could you ask for a more, given our luck with home openers the last couple of years that you brought up earlier with Dallas 40-0, and then what happened with Minnesota last year? Like, could you think of another worst case scenario than having a home opener against the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, the good news is that they don't blow teams out, so we would actually be okay there. I have a trivia for you before we move on to rushing yards. When's the last time a Giants QB threw for over 3,500 yards? I think this is pretty easy.
Was it Daniel Jones' rookie season?
No, he didn't play enough games.
It was Daniel Jones didn't throw for over 3,500 yards his rookie season?
Nope, I think his career best in 2022 was 3,200.
He had a 500-yard passing game.
He did. He didn't play enough games his rookie year. He would have gotten it his rookie year. He didn't play enough games.
Then it had to be Eli, right?
Do you know what year?
20.
It was the year I started listening to your podcast, NYG Weekly.
2016?
No, I didn't start listening to it in 2016.
2015, he threw for over 4,000 yards.
Believe it or not, Eli got
2017?
Eli got 2018.
I was going to be my first guess, but I was like, wait, tell me he didn't start listening in 2018.
I started listening in 2018 because that's like when I officially like. That's like when I got fully into podcasts. I'm like, oh, this shit's cool.
Yeah. Plus, I think with this extra game, I think quarterbacks should be able to throw for 3,000 yards with their eyes closed if you play all season, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Jones
so
barely did it in 2022 when he played all the.
that's
Played all the
shocking
games.
because how many games did he start in his rookie year? He
Um,
first start was week 3. He missed like what, a game with an ankle injury. So he played like
he
what, 11?
started in 12 games, and he had 3,027 passing yards, but his yards per game was 232. So 232 times, they were playing 16 games at that time, times 16. He would have had 3,700 yards. On his 16 game pace was 3,700 yards his rookie year. But
damn,
he didn't get 3,500.
Wow, I thought he did.
How do you like that? All right, Weis, I want to keep going. I want to talk about running backs. We're going to do Tyrone Tracy and Cam Skattebo next. But first, I got to talk to you about SeatGeek because today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. The MLB is in full swing. They're on their all-star break currently. A lot of my company is there. Instead of going to Atlanta, I was swimming in my parking lot. The NFL schedule is out. You can join Weis and I at training camp, but you can also join us at Giants games this year. With SeatGeek, the MLB's official ticket marketplace, your tickets are fully guaranteed and instantly fulfilled in your account after purchase. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and so much more. Right now, you can get tickets to baseball games, NBA, NHL, not those things because they ended, but not to mention tons of concerts and other events. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know if you're getting a good deal. Just look for those green dots because green means good, red means bad, universally accepted norm. Come hang out with me at the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to beat them, Weis. You don't think we're going to beat them? We're going to beat them. And you know we came through for you guys. You can use code GIANTS2025 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. The Chiefs don't blow anybody out. They keep everything close. The Giants are going to squeeze it out. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code GIANTS2025. The Chiefs have a weak offensive line now, and the Giants are going to take advantage of that. GIANTS2025 thanks to SeatGeek. Weis, you don't believe in them, but I do.
I believe in the Giants. I just don't believe in the schedule that they're playing.
Banning that word. All right, Tyrone Tracy, Cam Skattebo. We drafted Cam Skattebo, and I'm like, I'm really freaking excited for this guy. I think he's NFL tough and NFL strong. And then more time has gone on, and I'm getting a little bit more apprehensive. And as more time has gone on, I'm getting a little bit more excited about Tyrone Tracy. So let's start with Tracy first. Where are you at with Tyrone Tracy Jr.? What are you expecting from him this year?
I think Tyrone Tracy has sort of become the forgotten person on this offense. I think he was really, really good his rookie year. Didn't have a lot of experience at running back, but thank you for pulling up the numbers. 839 yards, 4.4 yards per attempt, with a makeshift offensive line. No Andrew Thomas for the majority of the year. Quarterback situation was just no reason to even, how could you even explain the quarterback situation last year? Tracy was really, really good, man. And I think for a rookie, what was he, a 5th round pick?
Yeah.
To come in and to put up those numbers, really, really good. I think people are forgetting him because of the Skattebo. My concern is Devin Singletary has a $6 million cap hit this year. Is he the running back 3? I know people are trying to make him out to be because they think this is a two-headed monster between Tracy and Skattebo. But I think Singletary almost is going to be sort of the second of the two-headed monster with Tracy early on. And I think we're going to slowly bring on Skattebo. But I think you can call it a two-headed monster, but I think Tyrone Tracy is probably the second. I don't know if this is saying much, but given Slayton's contract, I would say Tyrone Tracy is going to be the second most impactful skill player on this offense.
No, I think that's fair. And like Tyrone Tracy's rookie year was kind of a tale of two seasons, and I really feel like it's pretty unfair to evaluate anybody after they benched and released Daniel Jones. It's just really unfair. But the 6-game stretch, weeks 5 to 10, that was the start of the Seattle game, and then the Carolina game right before the bye, and then obviously they cut and they released Daniel Jones. Out of running backs with at least 37 carries through weeks 5 to 10 last year, Tyrone Tracy was 5th in the NFL in rush yards with 516. 61% of his rushing yards came in 6 games. He was 6th in yards per attempt at 5.43. He was 11th in missed tackles forced. He was 4th in runs at 10-plus yards with 9. Half of his 10-yard runs on the season, 10-plus yard runs on the season came in that span. And then he was 8th in breakaway rate. I think that was also when Thomas was still healthy and booming and going. Then I think eventually he goes down. So Tracy and Daniel Jones, when the offense was kind of moving the ball a little bit, like that Seattle game, they moved it a little bit against Carolina, and then also Andrew Thomas being healthy. Like both of those things kind of coincided with each other. Tyrone Tracy averaged about 60 yards per game last year. He was a starter in 13 of those games. On a 17-game pace, he would have put up a total of around 1,100 yards on a 17-game pace. And if you include receiving, a total of 260 touches he was on pace for, almost 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns. So I have somewhat high expectations for Tyrone Tracy as a one-cut back, as a guy that this is going to be his 3rd full year as a running back. That's it. I understand he's already 26 years old, but he's a guy that does not have a lot of tread on his tires, and I even think there's a potential as to where he doesn't necessarily get a ton of tread on his tires even this year too. And Weis, what I honestly feel like it's going to come down to, it's a boring thing to talk about. It feels unimportant, but I think for NFL teams, it's so valuable. The guys that are going to be on the field and the guys that are going to be off the field. Number one, they can't fumble. Number one, do not put the ball on the ground. And all those running backs last year, Eric Gray, the reason why Tyrone Tracy got an opportunity against Seattle is because Eric Gray put the ball on the ground. And Giants were
Eric Gray was fumbling in camp.
Yeah, Eric Gray has fumbled in special teams, everything. He has 3 fumbles in his 2 years as a pro.
They were not wearing pads. They were in those shills, and he was fumbling.
Which is really disappointing. Like you, at least like you would drafted Eric Gray with kind of like similar like excitement that we had with Tyrone Tracy. Be like, oh, the advanced metrics are good. Now Gray's a little bit more of a powerful runner, but like day three excitement running back picks, and he just simply like his biggest problem has not been he just can't not put the ball on the ground. So that's Eric Gray. Devin Singletary started the fumble, and that kind of like costed us the Washington game there. The Giants are going on an amazing drive.
He took off his gloves, stopped wearing gloves during games too.
Amazing drive to start the second half against Washington. Then Devin Singletary fumbles, and it's like, well, okay, well, there goes that game. And then Tyrone Tracy had a little bit of a fumble problem too. So that's number one, don't put the ball on the ground. But then number two, what's going to determine who's on the field and who's not on the field is pass blocking. And it's annoying. It's like, can you pass block or can you not? Like Cam Skattebo has the strength to be, like you would think, has the strength to be a good pass blocker in the NFL. But there are some concerns on whether he can hold his own from college. If he can do that, then he's going to see the field more than, I don't even want to say than people think, but he's going to see the field as much as people want him to see the field. If he can't do that, then it's going to be Tracy and Singletary.
Is Cam Skattebo going to be the undisputed running back 2 or the second head of the two-headed monster? At how early in the season do you think that's going to be?
I would like it to be almost right away. Like I feel like running back.
Do you think that's realistic?
I feel like running back in the NFL, it's one of those things of you got it or you don't. Like there's no like interior offensive line that, oh, it could take you 1 or 2 years to really get it, or especially interior defensive line where, it takes these guys 3 years to fully break out. You saw it with Dexter Lawrence. You're seeing it with other guys like Travis Jones from Baltimore, where like they just take a couple years. I feel like running backs, they come onto the scene and they're ready. Kind of similar with like some of these wide receivers. Like some of these wide receivers just have insane rookie seasons. Cam Skattebo, I feel like if he's going to be good and if he's going to get in the NFL, it could happen from day one. And that's what I kind of am. I don't know if it's what I'm expecting, but it's what I really want. Really want.
You're right, but I also think with running backs, there's like this mental thing where I always go back to that game with David Wilson when he fumbled the ball twice.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, I mean, there's other things that happen, but that kind of, for the majority of his rookie season, that impacted him. And that could happen to anybody. It could
Yeah.
happen to a veteran running back. It happened to Singletary, right? Where the fumbles got to him and it impacted him, and ultimately he stopped playing. It happened to Tyrone Tracy a little bit, right? So stuff like that can happen where it can like not necessarily impact your development, but it can impact the mental side of the game for you. I just don't think Skattebo is not early in the season can you expect him to be a serious contributor. That's why I think Tyrone Tracy is being so, I'm not going to say slept on, but sort of like swept under the rug in a sense where, no, 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 no. I think this is still Tyrone Tracy's backfield. The question becomes is how soon can Cam Skattebo take over as the running back two, quote unquote,
Yep.
over Devin Singletary? And that to me is what the running back situation is going to be centered around. I do think they're going to run the ball well. I think they're going to be a very good running team. I think Russell Wilson is going to help the running game a lot. And that's why I think Tracy is the sort of like second important player on this offense from a skill position wise.
Yeah. If they're able to throw the ball deep down the field and get
right
and be average in the explosive play department,
right,
that's going to open up the run. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about. With Russell Wilson's play action, I think
yeah.
that's going to open up things in the running game a lot.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, like, is Cam Skattebo better rushing the ball under center versus shotgun? Because Tyrone Tracy was much better. Tyrone Tracy averaged a whole yard per attempt more when running out of the shotgun versus under center. And I think Russ is pretty split on his effectiveness out of shotgun and under center. I'm not like Russ needs to be under center to run that play action shit. But I have Tyrone Tracy at 1,100 yards. If there wasn't Cam Skattebo, Devin Singletary, I would have Tyrone Tracy at more. But I have him at 1,100 yards, 4.6 yards per attempt, 240 attempts. That averages to about 14 attempts per game and 64 yards per game. That's what I have Tyrone Tracy at. And I think that's pretty conservative for Tracy.
Ooh, man. I desperately want to go to that 1,200 number.
Do it.
I've been talking to Tyrone Tracy all episode. I might as well, right?
Yeah. I feel disrespectful. I consider him a friend. I feel like that this is disrespectful to him. He was on pace last year to have this 1,097 yards on a 17 game pace. He was on to do the same thing last year.
Can I do this?
And it was a much worse situation.
Can I say
hopefully
1,350 all-purpose yards?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's about the same amount that he had last year. That would on a 17 game pace. He had all purpose, like rushing, receiving. He had 1,390. He was on pace to have 1,390 yards last year.
I'll do 1,350, and I'll do 7 touchdowns.
Okay. I have Cam Skattebo at 675 yards.
That's a lot.
4.2 yards per attempt, 160 attempts. So that's about 9.5 attempts per game and 40 yards per game. When you break it up into 40 yards per game, Weis, that's where you're like, oh, maybe he can do that. But it's the 9.5 attempts per game that you may think that's not a lot. That would be a lot. Because I also don't think that he's going to be as efficient. Like I think the yards per attempt at year's end, Tyrone Tracy's going to have a higher yards per attempt than Cam Skattebo. Because Tracy's just a little bit more shifty, and Skattebo's going to have to rely on power and yards after contact.
Man, 675 yards. Can I tell you that if he would have rushed for 670 yards last year, do you know where he would rank among rookies?
Oh, this is a good question. So obviously Tracy had more, Bucky Irving had more. I'm going to say 4th.
You're right. He would rank 4th.
Look at me.
behind Bucky Irving, Jaden Daniels, and Tyrone Tracy.
Oh, you included Jaden Daniels. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So he would be third among all running backs. The running back class last year was weird, where I don't think that's going to be the same this year. It's like a bunch of good running backs this year. But still, it's a good exercise. I know ball.
I have him at 420 yards. And I will put him at 4 rushing touchdowns for you. I just don't think they're gonna bury Devin Singletary early in the season. I think $6 million cap hit on a running back. That's a lot, man. A lot to swallow and put him as your third running back.
I think they'll do it for draft picks, though.
You think so?
For draft
picks, early on, I think they want to bring Skattebo on. First of all, I think they want to see. Here's what I think their game plan is for running back. You ready? Hey, Tyrone Tracy, can you be the bell cow? Can you be the guy that I can give 20 to 25 touches to a game on average? Right? Can you be that? Let's find that out. Okay, are you not that guy yet? No problem. Well, we got a veteran in Devin Singletary that we can give some touches to that we trust, right? Oh, Singletary, can't even be the second-headed monster on this two-headed monster. Well, we got this guy Skattebo that we've been bringing along. That's sort of the story of or the plan at running back, where it's like the first step is like, how much can Tyrone Tracy take on? 20 to 25 carries. Oh, okay. We can use him on passing downs too. Oh, he can pass block. Oh, he can run routes and catch out of the backfield, which they didn't do a lot with him last year. Oh, okay. This is an expanded role. This is a bell cow. This is a quote unquote bona fide running back one, right? That's what I think they want to see first. If that doesn't happen, that's when you start you'll see Singletary. And if Singletary doesn't sort of take that reign, then that's when I think Skattebo will come in.
When you watch Malik Nabers, what does it make you, Weis? I'm thinking of a word that starts with an H. Somewhat of an inappropriate word.
I know exactly what word it is. It makes me... Damn it, it makes me horny too.
There you go. Today's episode is sponsored by Hims. It can be hard to talk about not being able to get hard. That's the word I was thinking of. But Hims is here to make things much easier. Their all-online process connects you with a licensed healthcare provider who can recommend personalized ED treatments from the comfort of your home. Hims offers access to ED treatments options that cost 95% less than brand names. And with hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you if appropriate. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/giants. Find ED treatment that's up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/giants. hims.com/giants. Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. Did you like that transition?
I did.
Thank you.
One other thing about Skattebo before we move on. Even if you look at 2023, he would still be the fourth highest rookie running back in yards, behind Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Devon Achane.
I don't want to act like though, I don't want to act like the hype that after we drafted him, right? And pre-draft analysts, people that know ball, that know the draft, and like just everybody's excitement about getting this dude. I don't want to, for whatever reason, I don't want to let my pessimism as the couple months have gone by and thinking like, does he have the right NFL athleticism? Is he college strong or can he be NFL strong? I don't want to let these bad backbrain thoughts take over the genuine excitement that we had for Skattebo. Because honestly, I think there is a world where he can be. Or is he going to be the NFL athlete that sets the world on fire? No, but can he be NFL tough and NFL strong? Yeah, that's what he was drafted to do, and that's what he's drafted to be. And can he be that from day one? Why freaking not? So I don't know why I've had these bad back brain thoughts these last couple months of questions on if he can do it. He's got to be able to pass block. That's gonna like define who's on the field and who's not on the field.
Zach Charbonnet from Seattle, who they drafted
Yes,
a year after they taken Kenneth Walker,
UCLA.
had 462 yards as a rookie. And I would sort of compare the quarterback that running back room to ours,
Yeah,
where they had a guy and then they drafted another guy. You know, I don't mean to rain on your Cam Skattebo parade. I'm just trying to put, you know,
there's only so many carries. I mean, 240 attempts I have Tyrone Tracy getting. I think we can all see that happening. I have Cam Skattebo getting 160 attempts. So if you combine that, that's 400 attempts. The last 2 years, the Giants have had a total of 424 and 454 rushing attempts. And you got to think, like, Devin Singletary is going to get carries. Russell Wilson is not going to scramble as much as Daniel Jones, but he's going to have attempts. Malik Nabers and Wan'Dale Robinson, I hope, get some more carries, whether that be touch passes or technically passing attempts. But you know my point, like jet sweeps and things like that. Like, I'm hoping that's part of the offense more because like we have the athletes to do that. So there just may not be enough attempts to go around, but also, you also said when talking about Russell Wilson, they may just run the ball more. Like, they're not going to run the ball as much as they did in 2022. They ran it 520 times in 2022 because that's where you have Daniel Jones's legs, and Russell Wilson is just not going to scramble as much as that. But maybe they could be above 450 from what they did in 2023 because if Kafka's the play caller again and he chooses to run the ball more, that's just what he wants to do as a play caller more than Dable, because Dable's been criticized in the past for his ability to just abandon the run and just spam pass. He even did it last year when he hated every quarterback that he had. So maybe that happens. But there's only so many rushing attempts to go around, and in my stat prediction, that was the main thing I'm thinking about. Like, it's a lot of attempts for Skattebo, 160. And then if he doesn't get that many attempts, if he's not getting the 9.5 attempts per game, then odds are he's not getting the 40 yards per game, and then it's going to be less than 675 yards. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm really excited to talk about Malik Nabers because the more that I'm thinking about it, Weis, it's not. I don't think it's a hot take, but I'm most excited for Giants football this year because Malik Nabers is going to be on the field for us. Hopefully, that's why I think they have a shot. That's why they have a shot.
You should be very excited about Malik Nabers. The complete and total package as a receiver. I sort of when they drafted him on draft night, I sort of compared it to the Giants drafting a linebacker at receiver, where he has that type of mindset. Um, I feel like he can be a bully on the field.
Mm-hmm.
The size, the speed, he plays with the type of anger that I don't think you typically see from receivers. And super duper competitive. I think wants to win. Um, I don't get the diva mentality from him. I sort of get a different type of mentality. And I think he wants to win, and I think he's desperately trying to do that. What I was so interested with him this offseason was how invested he was in the quarterback situation, where he talked about Matthew Stafford, right?
Mm-hmm.
He played catch with Shador Sanders in Times Square. Did he spend some time with Cam Ward? He openly discussed these things, and it was almost like he was doing his own scouting,
Yeah.
right?
But he also
And I
didn't
think
discuss it too much, which I like.
he didn't give a preference,
Right.
but he would not. There wasn't a generic company man, you know. Oh, that's a question for Joe Shane. No, no, no. He talked about what he liked about Matthew Stafford, right? He openly discussed it. And so I see sort of an all-in player uh, who really wants to win, who I think he can be a culture defining player, which you don't see from receivers a lot. Typically, your culture is established through, your linebackers, your
Mm-hmm.
edge rushers, your quarterback, your running back, your tackles. You don't see receivers being the culture defining player. I think Malik Nabers is.
Because there's
There's
no
some
other
things.
players like that on offense. And, this is no disrespect to, my guy Andrew Thomas, but he's a quiet guy. But
Yeah.
also Andrew Thomas hasn't been on the field. Where, what other players are like good on the Giants offense? There's like we just talked about Tracy. We're hoping Tyrone Tracy
Well, you
expands
spend
upon
time with
his rookie
Tracy.
year.
Can Tyrone Tracy be a leader, you think? Like a vocal guy?
Yeah, I think he can. Because I think he seems to just get everything. Like he seems to have an understanding of, what it means to be, I think, a leader. Like in the media, he's very outspoken in the media, like in the best of ways. But at the same time, like he needs to have like, oh shit, this is a 1,200, 1,300 yard season. I'm putting myself on notice as a really good fucking NFL player. Then I think you get the respect of kind of your peers, and then your voice becomes louder. Like Malik Nabers' presence. I don't want to say his voice is loud because I don't know if he is that player. I don't know if he will be that type of leader. But I think Malik Nabers' presence is already there in that regard because of he's like legit a top 10 wide receiver already in the NFL. And nobody's batting an eye at that.
Can I sort of explain to you what Malik Nabers' role in that locker room was last year?
Yeah.
Malik Nabers was close to Isaiah Simmons a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's also close to Brian Burns too. Malik Nabers saw that, or felt, maybe probably because of the conversations he had with Isaiah Simmons, that Isaiah Simmons was essentially lied to by Joe Shane and Brian Daboll about his role with the team when he resigned.
Yeah, he was a
And
slut porn.
that,
Remember that?
yeah, and that impacted Malik Nabers a lot because of how emotionally invested he was with the team. Whereas there were times where, yeah, he butted heads with the coaching staff. There were times where, yeah, it got loud in meeting rooms. Like Malik is and that's the thing. Like when you hear that things about a receiver, it's like diva, right? Like that guy's a diva, right? I don't think that's the case. I think with Malik, it's more so like, you know, we have to have a culture. We got to trust each other. We got to stick together. I don't think Malik's a guy that's like, I got to get my numbers, and everything else is good. With when and I don't want to do this comparison, but there was some receivers that are, as long as they get their touches, they're good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Malik is the type of guy where if Tyrone Tracy breaks a 60-yard run, he knows the first guy there to greet him, Malik Nabers. If Russell Wilson throws a deep, 40-yard bomb to Darius Slayton, who's going to be there to celebrate first? It's going to be Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers wants that. He wants to be a part of that. And I think that when it doesn't go his way, that's when you'll see him sort of like, give me the ball. The ball needs to be in my hands. You saw those things with those post-game press conferences where he said, you got to go talk to coach.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're ever going to get a scenario where if the Giants are moving the ball and they're winning games, Malik Nabers is going to not be happy or not show how excited he is. I think the guy desperately wants to be a part of a winning program. There were times where he was like that at LSU. And I think he puts pressure on everyone else in a good way, where you have to raise your level of play. And I think that the Giants sort of need somebody like that. And
especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Ironically, you would typically want that from and I hate to use this word, but it's just the culture of football makes me a more alpha position, like linebacker, edge rusher, offensive lineman,
quarterback.
But in this quarterback, but in this scenario, it's that presence or one of those guys is a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who just happens to play bully ball at times.
You want another trivia question?
Sure.
How many plays of 40-plus yards did Malik Nabers have last year? Not air yards, just regular plays of 40-plus yards.
Mm, 40 plus yards. So I don't have that much time to go through each single game, but I'm gonna say
Give an instinct guess.
7.
Two.
Wow.
Two. 40 yards, Weis. And guess when the first one came? December 29th against the Colts, the 59-yard touchdown that he had as a
Correct.
screen. That was the first
Correct.
one. And then the touchdown that he had from Drew Lock in the Eagle game. That was it.
Right.
Those were the two 40-yard plays. And I will repeat this over and over again. I don't care how many times I repeat this. Why did you get excited about Malik Nabers at LSU?
Was that one against Dallas not 40 yards where he had to like stop and catch it as like an outfielder?
I think he had a play of 39 yards, but just roll with it. It's for the narrative. He did have a play of 39 yards, and I'm pretty sure it was against Dallas.
I remember that play.
But you hear Dable and like they all talk about explosives. Like I typically talk about explosives and explosive plays as like
Well, that's the
20 plus
NFL now.
yards.
That's the NFL.
They talk about it as 40 yards. Like you hear like all the time like Kafka and Dable when they refer to it, they're like, oh, the 40-yard plays. I'm like, oh shit, that's a lot. That's how you guys are looking at it. So that's what Malik Nabers did best at LSU though. Like that was the juice. The juice was I'm going to catch a ball short and then take it to the house because I'm bigger, stronger, faster than everybody. And then it was Jaden Daniels is just going to put a really good ball out in front of me deep down the field. And then I'm also going to outrun everybody because I'm bigger, stronger, faster than them. Malik Nabers had the rookie season that he had. And Weis, we didn't see any of that shit. We didn't see any of what really made us excited that we drafted him out of LSU. We didn't see any of it yet. And he is that fucking good. 109 catches, 1,200 yards for 11 yards per reception. So this year, the phrase for Malik Nabers for me, it is quality, not quantity. I very much can see Nabers ending this year with around the same amount of catches that he had his rookie year. He had 109 in, I believe it was 12 games. 109 last year. On a 17-game rate, he would have had 119 catches, 1,360 yards. That would have been second in the NFL in catches, and that would have been third in yards. I think he's going to wind up with either less catches this year or the same amount of catches, but I think he's going to get close to 1,500 yards, if not break 1,500 yards receiving. So I have 105 catches, 170 targets, 1,475 receiving yards, 61.7% catch rate, so it's lower than what he had his rookie year at 64. 6 receptions per game, seems a little low, but 86 yards per game, which is more than his rookie year, because this is what this year is going to be about. I don't think Russ is going to feed him the ball as much, but I think Russell Wilson is going to give him better overall quality targets that will result in bigger plays and more efficiency and more quality for Malik Nabers instead of quantity. So I think that's going to be around 14 yards per reception, and his rookie year he was around 11, which a player like Malik Nabers should not be around 11 yards per reception. Not at all.
I love to compare when I make predictions. I look at previous years. Since 2020 or 2021, excuse me, the number of receivers that have had at least 1,500 yards receiving have always been 3 in 2021, 3 in 2022. In 2023, there was 3. In 2024, last year, there were only 2. With that said, I think Malik Nabers probably goes right around that 1,500-yard mark.
Yeah. I don't think that's crazy.
I think he does it with less catches.
Yes.
You want to hear something crazy? Justin
Yes,
Jefferson had 103 catches for 1,533 yards, 10 touchdowns last year. I think Malik Nabers can do that with 98 catches, 5 fewer catches.
Wow.
Brian Thomas had 87 catches for 1,200 yards, averaged 14.7 yards per catch.
That would be a dramatic difference in usage.
I think Malik Nabers goes 98 for a ceremonial week 18, 1502. and I think he has 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I think he finishes with either the second or third best season by a wide receiver in 2025. Because like I broke it down the last 4 or 5 years, 1,500-yard receivers, only two or three of them in each year. So it's not something that it's common. So for him to get 1,500 yards, it would be saying something.
Yeah. I think he
And
could do
by
it. I think he
and
could
by
do
the
it.
way, the 1,500 yards receivers, I just want to read them out to you. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson last year, 2023, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2022, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams. AJ Brown got close at 1496, but he didn't get there. 2021, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, the Packer. Majority of those 1,500-yard receivers, um, Justin, they were on winning teams, playoff teams. So, again, I'm with you. I think
So
he
you're
gets
saying the Giants are
1,500.
going to be a playoff team, Wise?
What I'm saying is that it would be an outlier season for 1,500-yard receivers that we've seen in
Oh,
year past. What's the best way to predict the future? Look at the past, right?
dang. All right, we're running long. I want to briefly, and I mean very briefly, talk about Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson. Can we just say very quickly that Darius Slayton is one of the more predictable players in the NFL?
Yes, he
Like
is.
his career average is 2 point. Like I'm gonna read you his receptions per game the last 3 years under Brian Dable, and it's like very comparable to what he's done in his career. 2.9, 2.9, 2.4 receptions per game the last 3 years. 45.3, 45.3, 35.8 yards per game. His receptions per game in his career is 2.8. His yards per game in his career is 42.4. Darius Slayton is going to end the year with around 50 catches. I have him at 47, 80 targets, 715 yards. I think the catch rate's going to dip below 60%. I think it's going to be 58, which everything is in line for his career average, and I think that's what Darius Slayton is, and I love that. Every team needs that.
Darius Slayton had 50 catches 2 years ago. He had 39 catches last year. I'm going to put him at 45 catches this year. He had 573 yards last year at 770 the year before. I think that averages out to about 660, I think. So I will say 45, 660, and 3 touchdowns.
So we're around the same mark.
Yeah.
That's Darius Slayton, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with it.
If Darius Slayton could eliminate crucial drops, he would be a fan favorite on the Giants.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. I still have a hope that there's part of me that people are frustrated with Darius Slayton in the moment, but regardless of what this era and how this era of Giants football is going to be looked back upon, I hope that Darius Slayton is the player that people eventually will grow more respect for. That's my hope.
When Darius Slayton finishes playing and he does a sit-down interview, I hope he opens up because the last 36 months of Darius Slayton's career have been an amazing twist and turns. And
Yes. I think he
Darius
has
Slayton
Stockholm syndrome.
this time last year requested a trade from the Giants, came back, told a lot of people in the media what he thought about Joe Shane and Brian Daboll.
Mm-hmm.
Had a not so stellar season and re-signed with the Giants.
Weis, if he gets 600 receiving yards for the Giants this year, he passes Victor Cruz. He could pass Victor Cruz, Ike Hilliard, and Hakeem Nicks this year. With a normal Darius Slayton season, he is top 10 in Giants receiving yards all time.
I'm going to do this exercise where I want to look up longest tenured Giants receivers and see where Darius Slayton ranks.
And with 44 With 44 catches, he passes Victor Cruz for 12th in all-time receptions. Weis, the one guy that I don't have actually numbers on, because I can't wrap my brain around what the fuck he is.
Me neither.
Is Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't know what he is. He had one of the more stranger years last year. 93 catches, 140 targets, 699 yards, a crisp cool 7.5 yards per reception, with a 66.4% catch rate. Which, if you're, I can't emphasize this enough. If your yards per reception is somewhere around 8 yards, even 9, that catch rate better be fucking in the mid-70s. That's like, yards per reception wise, that's like tight end 2. Like, we're just going to check it down in the flat, and then you're going to rumble for 7 yards, and that's what your tight end 2 does. Except that's Wan'Dale Robinson. And Weis, I don't know if it's just, I don't know if it was quarterback play. I don't know if it was, oh my God, this offense is so bad, we simply just need to have somebody that catches the ball and does something somewhat productive. Wan'Dale Robinson is, I don't have a stat prediction for Wan'Dale Robinson, and I was hoping you would give it to me so then I could feed off of you, and I don't even think you have that.
No, but I will say this: I've thought about Wan'Dale Robinson a lot. There is a play in NCAA 26 and in Madden now called the jet sweep touch pass. I love running that play. It's an official throw and catch for the quarterback and the receiver. When I look at Wan'Dale Robinson's stat lines, the last 2 years, his rookie year he didn't play that much. I feel like the only time he caught a pass was when the Giants ran that jet sweep touch pass for him. 93 receptions for 699 yards. That's almost impressive.
It's very impressive. He was 10th in receiving yards from the slot. He was 3rd in slot catches in the NFL. But he was 67th in total EPA from the slot, which I'm not talking about EPA per catch or EPA per target. Nothing. Like, almost think of EPA as, I don't want to say WAR necessarily like in baseball, but total EPA, it's a cumulative stat. So you would think the more guys that, like the guys that get the more targets and catches in the slot are going to be better in total EPA, not EPA per target, EPA per play. He was 67th in total EPA from the slot, which Brenton Strange and former Giant Jordan Akins, both tight ends just above Wan'Dale in total EPA from the slot, a la tight end number 2s on their respective teams. 1.21 yards per route run last year. So almost the same phrase that I used for Malik Nabers, except Malik Nabers is just a lot better of a football player. This year, I hope, is about quality, not quantity for Wan'Dale Robinson. And in fact, Weis, like, I'm totally fine if Wan'Dale Robinson is not on the field as much. Because I think Malik Nabers should be mixed and matched in the slot. I think Darius Slayton should be put in the slot more. And I think if Jalin Hyatt has a shot at playing against guys with like NFL strength, I think experimenting and putting Jalin Hyatt maybe even in the slot at times is not the worst idea.
I'm thinking about doing an exercise in Madden where I'm going to run the jet sweep touch pass 93 times to Wan'Dale Robinson, and I'm going to see if I can get more than 699 yards.
That's a good short. All right, so man, I'll come up with one on the spot. If Wan'Dale ends up at around 75 catches, but we're talking 9 yards per reception instead of 7.5, I consider that a win. I 100% consider that a win. So 75 times 9, that's 675 yards. That would almost be a career best for him, despite like 20 less catches.
Wan'Dale Robinson has a $2.6 million cap hit, is in the final year of his deal.
He's not getting extended.
I'm going to give you a bold take. Wan'Dale Robinson gets traded at the deadline.
Who would want him? Who would want the role that he plays right now is one of the most replaceable roles and positions in the NFL.
Wan'Dale Robinson. If the Kansas City Chiefs offense looks exactly like it looked last year, Wan'Dale Robinson is the perfect Kansas City Chief.
Yeah, Rashee Rice or if Rashee Rice gets hurt, and then it's Wan'Dale. All right, okay. Yeah, and then I guess then if you're the Giants, if you're not going to pay him, and you're probably not going to have anything in the comp pick formula,
right?
Yeah, I don't think they should pay him. No, knowing Joe Shane though, he probably will want to pay him. Knowing Brian Dable, they probably will want to pay him. I hope they don't.
They're gonna pay, they just paid Darius Slayton. They have Malik Nabers. They don't have to pay Nabers for another 2 years.
Yeah,
but you just paid Darius Slayton. You have Malik Nabers out, at an amazing rate given his usage and his numbers. Why would you pay Wan'Dale Robinson to have 93 receptions for 699 yards and 3 touchdowns?
It's just so replaceable. Like you can just I feel like you can get Richie James back in here, and he was more efficient with his opportunities than Wan'Dale Robinson. And I don't even know if it's his fault. Like, this is what we're going to see this year. I don't even know if it was fully his fault, because 2023, you had the Packers game, which was like awesome. Like Wan'Dale Robinson has drives that, had that drive, that game-winning drive where he made like a couple catches and a couple good plays in like the fourth quarter. Awesome. So was it simply an offense that needed somebody to catch the ball because we don't have good quarterback play and we're not going to push the ball down the field, so we need somebody to rack up volume and targets, even if it's not all that efficient and all that helpful for us? Or is it this is just who Wan'Dale Robinson is? And I think that we're going to get that question answered this year, 100%. Weis, you know what? This is already long. We're going to make it longer. How about that? Defensive side of the ball. We'll be somewhat quick because we're just basically, how many sacks is this guy going to get? And we already know these guys are good, and we're excited about them. So, defense, as a team, Giants had 45 sacks last year. They had 37 through the first 12 weeks of the season. So that means, if you're doing math at home, they had 8 sacks through the final 5 games of the season, which is not very good.
That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good.
Nope, not the final stretch. But basically, why did I choose the first 12 weeks of the season? That's when Dexter Lawrence was healthy. So they had 37 through the first 12 weeks. They were on pace for 52 sacks. 52 sacks would have tied Dallas for the third most in the league last year. So Weis, I'm gonna ask you another trivia question, and then I'm gonna follow it up with the Giants question. When is the last time a pair of Giants teammates both got 10 plus sacks in the same season, Weis?
2000 and wait a second, Robert Ayers and JPP had really good years.
No, do not say 2015. They did not do it.
I think Robert Ayers had 9.5, right?
Yes, he led the team in sacks that year. I don't know if he had 10, but JPP did not get 10.
Yes,
the year after he blew up his fingers.
So then you start going back to 2012, Tuck and OC. They were on their last legs. I don't think they got it. 2011, I know JPP had a double-digit sack season. Tuck was kind of in and out with the neck. OC, aging guy. 2008, Tuck was there. OC out for the year. Strahan retired. 2007, Strahan was older. Am I going too further back?
You're going too further back. You had it. You were close.
2010. 2010.
Bang.
Yes.
2010.
That's when they were killing quarterbacks like week in and week out.
Yes, remember Jake Cutler. They had like 3 Bears quarterbacks that went out in the same game.
Yeah.
2010. Not JPP. It was JPP's rookie year. He had 4, but it was Tuck and OC that both had, I believe, 11.5 sacks. The next year, JPP had 16.5. OC had 9, and then really there was no other year that really anybody came fully close. So 2010 was the last time that a pair of Giants teammates got both 10 plus sacks on the season. So Weis, I will ask you, Will any of the 2025 Giants join the 2010 teammates of Tuck and OC? Will there be a pair of Giants that both get 10 plus sacks this year?
Yes.
Who are they?
Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns.
I agree. I have those two. And I feel way more confident about Dex. I feel confident that Burns is going to get close to 10. I'm very confident in that.
There is no bigger benefactor from the drafting of Abdul Carter and the return of Dexter Lawrence than Brian Burns.
Yeah.
Like if you say these three guys are coming back, who benefits the most? I would say Brian Burns. Brian Burns is now going to be looked at as a overthought when game planning. They're going to be like, we gotta block 97, and don't forget about this rookie that's playing well. Oh yeah, by the way, they also got Brian Burns, who is a $25 million pass rusher. And Brian Burns, I thought last year was really good. And this year, I think he puts up the numbers. He had 7.5 sacks last year?
Brian Burns had 8.5, which
8.5.
No, Dexter Lawrence led the team, but it was a half sack off of Dex.
Right. I think Brian Burns gets 10 plus. I think he has a really good statistical year. If the New York Giants are going to surprise people this season, Justin, and they're going to win a lot more games than you and I probably think, it's going to be because of this defensive line.
Has to.
This defensive line has potential to be really, really special. In fact, I think if it is not really, really, really good, it would be a disappointment. And I like to use the word investment a lot. This defensive line has a lot of investments in it. It has a number 6 overall pick in Kayvon Thibodeau, who's entering the season as the number 3 pass rusher. How about that? Your number 6 overall pick from a few years ago is now your 3rd pass rusher. You have Brian Burns, who is a $25 million pass rusher. You know how much they paid him.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, by the way, they drafted what many regard as either the best player in the draft or the second best player in the draft in Abdul Carter.
This defense, the record of most sacks in a season is 72 with the 84 Bears. The Eagles in 2022 came close at 70. The Broncos last year led the league with 63 sacks.
Minimum 50.
If they're not close to 60, that's a disappointment. They were on pace for 52 last year. And that's
minimum 50.
They were on pace 50. They were on pace for 52 through the first 12 weeks, and they ended with 45. They need to get close to 60. And like you said, minimum 50, but if we're talking about, again, defense really making an impact and helping us win games, that number needs to be close to 60.
In 2022, when the Giants unofficially clinched their playoff berth, it was a Sunday night game against Washington. You remember?
Yeah. Kayvon took over.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure Aziz took over too.
Aziz took over too. You're right. There you go. Good memory. The Giants, if they want any chance of competitive football in November, December, and you can go over these numbers one by one or however you like, this defensive line, it's not a wishful thinking. It's not like, oh, if this guy Abdul Carter, I think, is going to be a stud from day one, the moment he steps on the field. I think there was a quote today that came out where he says, "I'm not a rookie." I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
He's putting the target right on his back.
He's nuts. All these guys they drafted are kind of head cases, and I love it.
Kayvon Thibodeau has a chip on his shoulder. He's now bumped to a number 3 pass rusher. Brian Burns, questions about Dexter Lawrence coming back from injury. This has to be the heart and the soul of the Giants. This has to be the room that surprises people, that turns it around. Talk to me about the numbers.
Yeah, so Dexter Lawrence, he had 9 sacks in 12 games last year. That's about 3/4 of a sack per game. That his 17-game pace would be 12 3/4. So round that to 12.5 if you want. I think Dex is getting 13 sacks this year. And I don't think that's generous. What What's stopping Dexter Lawrence from getting double digit sacks?
I think their interior defensive line depth is a little bit better. I think they have more bodies there. The usage rate could be a lot lower. And I think, and this is going to be crazy because you're going to be like, wow, that's pretty confident. They're going to double Dex, and I think he's going to beat the double teams.
Yeah.
But one of the pass rushers are going to get to the quarterback first.
And that's why he wouldn't get that. And that's what would prevent him from getting like the double digit or like the ultra insane defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Dude, I just think he's that good. And what you have to start doing with Dex now, and this is how you know that he's just transcended. You have to stop looking at him in just interior defensive line rankings. Like, oh, when you look at pass rush productivity, win rate, and total pressures, and all the fun categories that you see on PFF. You have to change the position and do something that you don't do often. You have to alter the position to have DI and edge, DI and ED, because Dexter Lawrence is top 20, top 20, top 15 in everything, man. And it's not just that he plays like, oh, he's a 3-4 interior defensive lineman. But he's doing that from the nose tackle spot, dude. It's just crazy. And I said it last year, and some people doubted me, like, oh, really? I don't think he can get there. But there is no reason. I'm going to say this again. There is no reason why Dexter Lawrence cannot get double-digit sacks. He would have gotten it last year if he didn't get hurt. And even, I think he had the 9 sacks in the first 9 games. He went his final 3 games where maybe he was struggling with that injury. I can't exactly remember that injury timeline. But he went the final 3 games without getting a sack. He was leading the NFL in sacks after Aiden Hutchinson goes down. It was like him and Will McDonald. If the Giants are in a position where they're competing for a playoff spot close to the end of the year, Dexter Lawrence will continue to get Defensive Player of the Year love. That's the expectation.
Yeah. I'll say this about Dex. I really hope Dexter is entering year 7, right?
Dexter Lawrence is entering
year 6,
4, 5, 6. I think he's entering year 7. Yes,
right.
Which is crazy.
Like, we're now talking like legacy talk with Dexter Lawrence. I feel like if Dex, and I know people might snip this and be crazy and think I'm out of my mind. If Dex was playing on a winning team that was consistently playing in big playoff games, he would be talked about the same way we talk about Aaron Donald.
I don't think he's there yet. I don't think
because
he's there
yet. There's never been an interior defensive lineman that has been this impactful both in the run and against the pass like Dexter Lawrence. The way we talk about Chris Jones, I think people are talking about as Hall of Famer, right?
Yes, 100%.
I think people will be talking about Dexter Lawrence the same way. They would be the question that people would be asking, because understand what I said. If he was playing on a winning team that was consistently playing in playoff games, I'm not saying he's as good as Aaron Donald. I'm talking about the conversation around Dexter Lawrence would be legacy. Where does he rank all time?
I think it would be similar to, like, I just looked up Warren Sapp, and Warren Sapp had like 1, 2, 3, 4 double-digit sack seasons. He snuck one out in 2006 with the Raiders at age 34. But I think it would be similar. I mean, I wasn't fully around for the legacy of Warren Sapp, but yeah.
And they ask Warren Sapp where he ranks with Aaron Donald. So what I'm saying is that he would be talked about amongst the all-time great players right now at his position. And so part of me hopes that, we're not on Dexter Lawrence's last legs when we get to a spot where we're competing, but like we're now entering the conversation with Dexter Lawrence about, is this a gold jacket guy? Because if he has a double-digit sack season, like, how do you not have that conversation?
I think we need to do it for a couple more, but it would be on that trajectory.
I'm talking
100%.
about the conversation starting.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, the conversation
Because for the last 3 years, he has been amongst the top defensive linemen in the NFL.
Yeah.
Him, Chris Jones, there were Aaron Donald. Now there's Jalen Carter. Like, these guys always get talked about amongst the best in the NFL.
And people know it. And they everybody knows it. Everybody understands it. It's not just Giants fans that are like, look at this guy, he's good.
Right. Now, he tallies a double-digit sack season, which was something, by the way, he was going to do last year if he didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'll take it one step further. If the Giants are not mathematically eliminated and they're not complete dog shit last year, I think Dexter Lawrence placed through that elbow injury. He's 28 years old. He's getting closer to that dark number that everyone hates for NFL players that are not quarterbacks, 30. But at age 28 and 29, I am hoping that there is meaningful football with the Giants over the next couple of years, where the conversation we can talk about legacy with Dexter Lawrence, and it sucks because I think the conversation should already be there, given how impactful he is. And understand another thing, Justin, Dexter Lawrence has not played with like great players like other pass rushers have. So I'm with you, man. Double-digit sack season for Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
I just hope that they can be meaningful games.
I have 13. Burns, I have 10. I think he breaks double digits for the second time in his career. Believe it or not, Brian Burns' 17-game average in his career is 9.6 sacks.
Yeah.
Which, for a player that's only gotten more than 10 sacks once in his career, 2022, he had 12.5. I mean, that's...
By the way, he played all last season with a groin injury too.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good for, Brian Burns and, his career. And, the longer that we are removed from that contract, the better it will look, and the more that I'm willing to come to grasp about the type of player that Brian Burns is. I was really surprised. I was doing this research a couple weeks ago to see how pretty damn great he is at getting the quick pressures too. Quick sacks, quick pressures, quick hits. One of the best of the NFL at doing that last year. We'll leave off really quick here. Kayvon Thibodeau, how many sacks does he get this year?
4.5.
I have 6, so we're in a similar boat where I think, and I mean I have Abdul Carter at more than 6 sacks, so we would have Kayvon Thibodeau out of the big front four. We have Kayvon fourth in that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm excited about Kayvon. I am higher on Kayvon Thibodeau as a football player heading into 2025 than, believe it or not, I was heading into 2024. And I know 2023 he had the 13th sack season, but he just really didn't hit the quarterback. Outside of the sacks, he was a bad offensive tackle merchant, where there was better play last year. There was more consistent pressure. There was more consistency from Kayvon Thibodeau, where he would just flat out disappear from games in 2023. It wasn't as bad in 2024. Believe it or not, and it was the injury that really set him back, because he had like a very similar sack rate to Brian Burns. Like, Brian Burns had a 2% sack rate. Kayvon Thibodeau had a 1.7% sack rate. Approximately, he would have finished with 7.5 sacks in 17 games on his 12-game pace, because he had 5.5 sacks in 12, so it would have been 7.5 in 17 if he played all 17. I think if you look at the 12 games in which Kayvon played, there's about 1,000 snaps, give or take, in a defensive season, Weis. He played 593 of those last year. Only 12 games, but if we were to end the season in 2025 and Kayvon Thibodeau plays in about 550 snaps, that's about what I think he's going to play. And how many sacks did he put up last year in the same time frame? 5.5. I think he finishes with 6 this year, because I think he gets a similar amount of snaps at which he got last year. But this time it's not because of injury. This time it's because there's just other guys in front of him.
My main concern with Thibodeau and why I have the sack number so low is that third pass rushing role, Justin, that's a unique role. You need a guy who specializes, and I know this is Captain Obvious, but like you need a guy that can put his head down and get to the quarterback, has the spin, has the pass rush moves. Like that's his role. Third down, I need you in the game. Third pass rusher, I can put you inside or outside, and you can get to the quarterback. I don't think Thibodeau can be that guy. He's more of a guy that gets better with the flow of the game as he plays more and more snaps, and that's why I have him at 4.5. Um, I'm gonna be interested to see how Thibodeau uh, adjusts to his role because he's a unique guy too, and so not on the field. What would you say his percentage on the field is? 30%, 35%?
Nah, I mean, it should be higher because let's just say there's, like I said, give or take, there's 1,000 snaps in a defensive season. Last year he played 593, but he only played in 12 games. So if he plays about 600 snaps, that's around 60% of the snaps, which
you think he plays 60% of the snaps?
I think they're going to find a way to get all these guys on the field at the same time more than we think. I think they're going to stack Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau on top of each other, and then vice versa, Brian Burns and Abdul Carter, mix and match however you want, especially on third down. On any time there's like a passing down or second and long, third and long, whatever, they're gonna put more linemen on the field, and they're gonna stack to run stunts, twists, games, whatever. They're gonna put all these edge rushers on the field at one time, and this even includes I think Chauncey Golston too, which is a huge part of this as your
very underrated signing.
Yes, he was a starter for the Cowboys last year, starter for the Cowboys who were third in the NFL in sacks last year. So, he fits into this too. They are gonna find a way to we're gonna see a couple times look at Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter lined up literally right next to each other, almost in this wide nine. I think that's what they're gonna do a lot.
They would have to get very creative, and this is where I'm concerned with getting Thibodeau on the field 60% of the time.
Right.
So that's why one of the most intriguing things for me is how does Kayvon Thibodeau adjust to being the number 3 pass rusher on this team?
Yeah. It'll be interesting. How many sacks do you have Abdul Carter getting? And then we'll basically wrap it up.
8.5. Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I have 8. Will Anderson had 7 his rookie year. Myles Garrett had 7 his rookie year. Micah Parsons had 13. But I feel like that's the sweet spot for if you get a rookie pass rusher that can get that. I mean, more importantly, other than the sacks, I just want to see Abdul Carter just play like a freak on the field. I don't necessarily need to see the best statistical season out of him. But if we're walking away being like, that guy just runs around the football field making plays, then it's mission successful. He's still learning how to play edge rusher. So Weis, I have 37 sacks across Dex, Burns, Thibodeau, and Carter. If the road to 60, we'll need to get 23 more sacks. So, Tyler Nubin, Drew Phillips, Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden.
They have guys in the secondary that can get to the quarterback, I think, who you can put in that nickel blitz. And Javon Holland, I think, is unique from that standpoint.
I think we can squeeze out 23 sacks out of the rest of the team.
Easily. Don't forget about Drew Phillips, too.
Nacho gets 2. Yeah. Chauncey Golston gets 5. And then that's 18 right there. Oh, we're gonna get 60. The road to 60 begins today. Put it on a shirt. The road to 60. All right, well, if you've listened all this time, God bless you. Credit to you. This has been like an hour and a half show. Weis, I didn't think we'd go this long. I'm still trying to navigate as like a person that organizes a whole notes. I didn't think this would take an hour and a half, but alas, here we are. So thank you for hopping on with me and making it a late night. I appreciate you. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. Like I said, man, I'm getting that itch for football. So anytime I could sit and talk for an hour and 30 minutes, I could have gone for another 30 minutes.
I love it. All right, well, I'll see you at training camp.
Yes, sir, you will.
I'll see everybody at training camp. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna do live streams. You're gonna join me for some of those live streams. I'm gonna put the live streams on the podcast app for the first time ever, so you won't miss out on any of that. It won't just be a YouTube vehicle. So, Weis, thank you once again. NYG Daily. Go give him a follow. You already know him though. Biggest Giants, biggest Giants account out there.
Free me.
Yeah, free. Tweet at Twitter support saying free at NYG Daily.
Tweet at Elon. Get my account unlocked.
All right, Weis. So we'll see you later in the week. I want to have an interview. I don't know with who yet. There's 2 people that I have in mind for one more final interview as like a pre-camp hype thing. And then we'll see you for camp. So thanks for tuning in, and take it away, Joey.
Cheers, y'all. It starts today. Let's go, Giants! Woo!